Alright guys, hey, we're back in the garage. So, it's New Year's, it's a brand new year. Let's hope it goes better in 2020 for everybody. So, excuse my comfortable outfit that I wear in the garage a lot of times. Today, what I'm going to be doing, be pulling the plugs on the car. I just want to take a look at it. I've been in there for a little while. I'm thinking I might drop a heat range and temperature on it, just because I know we're getting ready to really ramp the boost to it. It has a BR7 EF in it right now, and more than likely I think I'm going to go to an 8. Try and cool it off a little bit. Worst case scenario, I could always put the 7s back in if they look good, or just buy another set. But also on top of that today, I'm going to go ahead and change the springs out finally. So I discussed that a little while ago. So we're going to end up going with the 10-inch QA1s, 300 pound. We'll see what happens. So with that, let's get started. And of course, I still got all my stuff disorganized from going to the track a couple days ago. So let me get some of my junk out of the way. Oh, also, I'm going to try and get to that today too as well. I want to make a bar change in the back. I'm actually going to end up taking some anti-squat away from the car. It was set up at like 176% anti-squat, which is a little much. So with that, I think we're going to change it. We're going to knock her down to about 130. And we'll see if that don't, I don't know what to expect at this point. But if I can get it to stick coming out of the hole, much better. So that's kind of the main goal of it, is to get this thing to leak. But, get the plugs out of her first, we'll see what we got going on. And hopefully things look good and I don't see nothing bad. So, off I go. And you're still recording. All right, so plugs are out of the car. Actually, not looking too shabby. So that's number 7 in the back. Looks a little darker than the rest, but that shows me that the tune-up is working, because I actually knocked half a degree of timing out of that and add a little extra fuel to that cylinder. And we'll kind of come over here. Everything on this side looks all right, except for number 1, or actually be number 2 cylinder, sorry, is I don't know, a little funky around the tip here. So I'll investigate that a little bit further. And that could just be condensation buildup. The car does run on straight E85, and it sits more than anything. So, all right, well, them are out, and I will probably end up changing them for a fresh set. But for right now, we're gonna get this sucker up in the air so we can get to working on the spring setup here. All right, guys. Hey, so I mentioned a little while ago about the springs and about the situation with if it has too much extension, they come out of the pocket. So don't judge me too bad on this, because it works. And listen, I'm not into spending $1,500 on a set of front coilovers that work for this car. That's just not in my budget for what I'm trying to do. So I will kind of show you what we got going on. And as I raise this up, you'll actually kind of see what I'm talking about, and you can actually watch it all come apart. So there we go. So as we come up, they get separation there. So basically what this setup is a piece of exhaust pipe down here on the bottom. There's a wedge shape, okay? And that is just actually tack welded to the shock tab. And then it has a regular coilover setup. So it has the base plate, the spring, and your aluminum adjusting collar. But as you can see with the short springs in it, this is what you end up with. So I did cut and widen this area here out to allow for the coil spring to sit up in here. Hence the reason going with the larger ones. I had to make some room up here because normally these things are very, very narrow. So this was actually cut, bent, filled, and re-welded here. So I'm gonna yank these things off. You can see I undid my homemade limiter straps, and the front end of this car comes apart so easy breezy. Actually, this whole car was designed for ease of maintenance. Anything on this car comes off, gets adjusted, changed out quickly. One thing I do hate about this, though, as you can see all over the windshield, is that's just from going through the water box at the drag strip. Whatever slings off the front tires gets on the window, or as soon as you go to do your burnout, it slings it up over the back of the car, and hence it lands here. So, but minor inconvenience to have something unusual at the track. So, all right, let's start tearing this thing down. All right, guys, here we go. Let's start tearing this thing down. Like I've said before, really easy to do. This car is basic and quick, and yeah, it's been broke enough times that you sort of get like a little bit of a rhythm going, and you know every little piece what needs done. So shouldn't take you too long at all, to be honest with you. We'll get this thing squared out of here, and we'll do a comparison of the springs. Like I said, guys, I'm out of my wheelhouse a little bit with all the suspension adjusting. I've had some fast cars in the past. Had a couple 10-second street cars, but they were basic Fox body setups, nothing fancy deal, tried and true stuff, you know. And that was actually years and years and years ago when things, you know, 10-second street car was still something we talked about. Anymore, it's shit put under the dealership, and we got the money and the finance available, we'll give you one. So, and I still have another one right now. I also have a Cadillac CTSV, just a second generation one. Pulley injectors, flex fuel. Nothing all that fancy, but they had to get the job done. And that car's been 1090s at 130 in the quarter. So, for a 4,500 pound tank, sure runs pretty good. But I didn't use it a whole lot. The car sits around, like I said, it's a 2010, and I got it, 6 years ago, at 4,900 miles on it. So, at about 35,000 now, I think. Still not much. Yeah, so don't get used a whole lot, but it comes out every now and then. It's a fun car, for sure. And, not as fun as this one. This one here's a whole different realm of interesting. I'm not sure necessarily what my goals are on this car. I think if I can just get it to leave on the trans brake and be consistent, 60 foot, I think the car's got 8s in it all day long with a little boost controller help. So right now it's just trying to find where everything is going to work together and work in my favor instead of against me. And like I said, this is like the last, I guess, major kind of setup change going with these front springs. After that, it's all going to be adjustment stuff. And so some good websites out there. Sure, if you guys are familiar with Meticulous on YouTube. So you had a couple websites that you could go figure your bar calculations and stuff on. I went to that and didn't find it all that easy, although it did get me in the right direction when I was building the rear end. So I will give it that. But best bet, guys, man, go to Baseline Suspensions. Man, a couple measurements, get you right in the ballpark or where you need to be. Like I said, when I calculated this, it was 170% anti-squat. We're going to knock it down to around 130-ish. See what that does. Also, I had developed a fuel leak too when I was at the track during the burnout in one of them. I seen it shoot fuel. So I do have a fuel line here that's not a happy camper. So
need to reevaluate that. And another problem I got is that this car has a low pressure pump, feeds into a surge tank. And in the surge tank has two 380 meter per hour AEM pumps. For some reason, with both pumps running, I still seem to lose fuel pressure on this car. And I'm not sure what's going on. I do have a boost reference regulator on it, of course. And I'm not sure if it's not happy about where I'm getting my reference or what the deal is. I mean, I could put pressure on top of it without the car running and just, with pressure and the pump running, and I can watch the pressure rise. So for the life of me, I'm not figuring out that it's got a direct line from a vacuum block right to it. So how the hell does it do it when the car's not running, but it can't do it when it is? And there's no way it can be a pump issue. Two 380s, not building that much power here, so that should be, I should not see a loss in pressure on this thing. Unless, I run a small line on it, which is my bad, and that was not a whole lot of foresight on my part. I should have ran at minimum probably at 8 feet in a 6 return. Instead I have a 6 feet and a 6 return. But that should still be good for more power than what I'm making now. So, like I said, guys, I got a whole bunch of little stuff that's going to need to be figured out, sorted, and come up with an idea of what the hell is going on. So, I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there that'll put a comment on here, hey, do this, do that. Listen, not to say you guys don't have great ideas, but I do take a lot of stuff with a grain of salt because, I don't know. I like to believe the best in everybody. Sometimes that's not always the best thing. But if you guys got ideas and stuff, let me know. I'm open to suggestions. Like I said, I'm kind of winging it. I'm an old guy, but I like learning new tricks. Nothing wrong with that. And as you can see, guys, this thing comes apart easy breezy. Separate it real quick. And guys, hey, I'd be curious to know who are the guys that you follow on YouTube? Kind of limited. I guess I got my favorites. And I watch some just off the wall stuff once in a while. But I will say that I started out watching Garrett with Cletus when he first started the Leroy project, because I had mine already, and I was interested in seeing what he was doing with his. I thought it was pretty damn cool. So I still watch him. Channel gets a little ridiculous for me once in a while, but I still like the guy. I like his content. I do watch Jeremy with the Faster Proms. He's the gentleman that tuned my Cadillac years ago for me. So you know Jeremy a little bit, and been nothing but pleased with the tune that he gave me on that thing. It's been super safe and consistent and never an issue. The car's dead not reliable. It's been to Florida to New York and back a couple times, and so it's good. Other than that, neutral drop. Those boys out in New York City they're a trip, and I have some friends that were from the city itself, and so I get some entertainment off of those guys. And then, hell, I didn't even take that off. I don't know what I was doing. Who else do I got on there? So those are two big ones. Everybody's got to love Peg, or Zip Ties and Body Supplies. That boy there, he's a trip. He cracks me up like nobody. So if you guys have not seen him, go check it out. He's, I I know YouTube has kind of curtailed him a little bit on his language, I think, but he's got more one-liners than just about anybody on there. And he's one funny son of a bitch, I'll give him that. There's a bunch of guys that sprout off of that. Great guy right here, I don't know if you can see it, they call the Uncle Gus. That's from Dane Thompson out in California. Dane's been a really, really cool dude. Watched a lot of his videos. He did a really awesome twin turbo Winnebago that he calls the Twinnebago. Pretty cool piece. And he's also got a pretty slick, I don't remember what year it is, but I think it's a 65 Chevy Malibu that he's got a single turbo on. He's setting up for drag racing and stuff. So make sure you go watch Dane's channel. All right. So guys, here's my components. And as you can see, this is about as basic as you can get. And these are some I don't know if that's the right choice or the wrong choice. But I'm gonna do some mocking up here and see what I come up with these longer springs, and I'll be back with you in just a moment. All right, we're back. So, springs are on. Makes the collars fall right in the middle, which is great for adjustability for ride height and whatever, which I haven't gotten to yet. But, turn you around here. So you can see that spring compared to this thing. I'll drop that down in there. Man, that's a drastic. Like I said, 3 inches of difference. This is a lighter spring than this by far. So I'm going to just toss the wheels back on the car with no brakes or anything right now. And I'm going to lower it down and see where my ride height is at. I got the limiter straps right now to grab just before full extension of the shock. To try and save that, you never want to use the shock absorber as your main point of stopping, because that just beats the insides of them up. So, all right, let me knock the wheels on this thing real quick, and I'll be right back. We'll take a look at it and see what we got to do if we need to adjust ride height or anything funky like that. They're in. Don't have the brakes on yet, as I said. I adjusted the limiting straps just before full extension of the shocks, but the 300 pounders are actually sitting perfect. I'm right back to my normal ride height. Still have plenty of adjustability. Lot more travel. I mean, my lord, this thing. The big problem I had with this is that you could not move the suspension at all. I mean, this thing had like nothing. I mean, these springs were so tight and stiff. And now just with me lightly lifting the car, I'm getting some extension now, which should be good in all theory. So, don't know. Time to put the brakes on it, get it back up in the air, and move to the back. And we're going to adjust the upper bars up one hole, which will be 1 inch. That'll get me 130% anti-squat. And I don't know, maybe if it don't rain today, we'll take her out for a little street cruise. We'll do a little recording of that, and we'll see how it goes. All right, I'm gonna raise this thing up a little bit and get some leverage on this stuff. Once I get everything loose, at that point in time, I think we'll be all right. Lower it back down. We'll just set it on the transmission jack. Let's see if I can't get this thing to break free here. Oh, not not so bad. Not so bad. Double wrench ratcheting deal here. Get off the block, no, feel good. Actually, I forgot this is not even a locking nut, so this thing's gonna be, there she goes. She's gonna be snug the whole way. Alright. Well, there's the front one there. So, move you over this way a little bit, and we get on this one. Yeah, these weren't going to come loose. Not a chance in hell. I think everything else on the car would fall apart, and this would still be here. Oh shit. Other than I'm a dumb idiot, and hey, I'm not moving the bottom one. That was awful stupid of me, so I guess we're going to take this one back up. So what am I thinking? The bottom can stay. They might get moved later. But for now, I want to do the tops. As you can tell, I'm not a pro at this. Anything. To be honest with you, I do okay. This is going to be my first video. So I'm sure this will be embarrassing and not very impressive. But so be it. It is what it is. And it's a good representation of, hey, how it is for normal guys. Come on, baby. There we go. And yes, I do have power tools, air tools, and whatnot. Funny thing is more times than not, I don't use them for some reason. I don't necessarily know why. I guess I just like doing things the old way once in a while. Get less chance of breaking stuff. Get a feel for it. And it's not a pain job. I'm in no hurry. I got nothing but time. And, time in the garage is well spent, keeps me out of trouble, keeps me away from the COVID. Alright, we're going to go figure out what the hell size these other ones are. I don't recall now. Do not remember. Because it is different size hardware, front and back, okay. There's that. I was thinking it's the same, different on the inside. I bet it might be the same. Interesting. Okay. It's been a while since I've been in here, so I don't remember necessarily what it was as far as wrenches. Actually, I'm thinking this one here. Might be better off to get the car down a little bit. We'll see. No problemo. No problemo. We can do this. Actually, scoot you guys over here so actually not just be a voice staring at something with nothing going on. Alright, good there. There you are. Okay. Now we're back off onto this side here. Bam, that one there's on there. That one is on there. There we go. We're off and running now. Alright, we're loose. There is no tension on the rear end right now at all, both sides. We're in neutral state. So I know everything is, yeah, everything's falling off the chair. Alright, so everything is squared up. So basically all I'm doing, I'm going to take this one here, I'm moving it up one hole, and hey, alright, so today we've accomplished a decent amount of stuff. Got the front springs changed out. Can actually bounce the front of the car now, which is something you could never do before. See, changed upper bars in the back to get some anti-squat out. That went well, no issues there. Everything just, you know, loosen it up, slides right up to the next hole like it should, which is good. And yeah, got a fresh set of plugs in it, and I think we're good to go. I did drop down another half heat range, so I'm running the 7317 NGKs, which are actually a number 8 plug, because we plan on cranking the boost up, and I'd rather be a little safe with the heat range. Worst case scenario, if I don't like it, I can always go back to the 7s. But I'll fire it up real quick, make sure all the plug wires are on, and everything is good to go. And yeah, then that's it. Gonna wrap it up for tonight. Maybe tomorrow I'll take it out for a little cruise, and I'll try and get you some coverage of that. But for now, I'll leave you with firing up the car real quick, and I want to thank you for checking out the channel. And I'm always out here doing something. I'll show you some ways of doing things inexpensively that you can do easily yourself at home, using other methods than just going out and buying stuff. I enjoy trying to fabricate things, and I'll give you a couple little hints on some things that I find are outrageously expensive that can be made on the super cheap at home real quick and easy. So without further ado, thanks again, and fire the car up real quick, make sure it's hitting on all 8, and catch you next time.